Hello and welcome to the episode 3 of Barely Floating Podcast. We are taking you behind the scenes of making this adventure game. My name is Ari and I'm joined here by
Aki?
Yeah, how is it going, dude?
It's very hot in here.
Yeah, this studio is really hot.
I'm melting.
Yeah, it's summer here in Finland and I think it's like I don't know how many million degrees it's out there, and
It's cold outside, but it's
really hot.
damn, it's hot in here.
Yeah, it is. Anyway, we're going to talk about the graphics and a little bit, or actually a lot, about the soundtrack, which I think is kind of nice. It's
the most fun part of the game since I had no part in making it.
Yeah, nice. So why don't we start with the graphics? Would you like to give us a short overview of how the workflow of like one room's background went?
Yeah, the first step was to build a very simple 3D model of the room, and actually I did the whole ship so the rooms would be somewhat correct size and would flow together like they should. And I used Google SketchUp for the simple 3D modeling for that, and then I just took a screenshot and opened Photoshop and drew some lines and filled the spaces in between, and that was it. Then my work was done. So for the first phase of the background.
Yeah. So after that, I took the Photoshop file and started messing around with the background, and I cleaned up all the layers so there wasn't any unnecessary stuff in them. Named them a bit more the way I like it, and basic cleanup job you have to do whenever you are starting to work with so many layers that there were. And then I after I got the colors and the stuff together, I started to play around with texturing the backgrounds with just textures from my own texture bank or from the internet or wherever. And it's basic Photoshop work you do with backgrounds like that. And after that it's just fixing a little bit there and a little bit here, making adjustment layers with hue and saturation, color correction, curves, basic stuff. And then in the end I always put a little bit of vignette in there and made the edges of the background a little bit more darker, so the focus would be in the center of the room.
Can you tell us a bit about how you approach the different moods in different parts of the ship?
Well, since the adventure takes place in nighttime, I decided that most of the outdoor scenes would be kind of blue and had this kind of hazy look in them. So I did it like any other background. I cleaned it up first and made the colors to be somewhat realistic, and then just started changing everything bit more blue every step. But I'm not all that happy with the end result in some of the backgrounds, because the time frame was a bit too let's say tight and
a bit.
Yeah, and so some of the backgrounds, especially the hall ones where you just wandering from, let's say, the deck 1 hall or deck 2 halls, they aren't my favorites, because they have a lot of details and a lot of items in there, because there's doors to different rooms in there, and they would need to have much more work to look good, but I don't think we had that time at the but sometimes you have to go with what you can, so that's about it.
Which was the hardest background?
I don't think there were any that were hard, but there were some ones that had you had to put much more work into them. My favorite ones are maybe the navigation that came out pretty nicely, and the the back deck, or poop deck, I think that's called, where the final battle takes place. That's kind of, my favorite.
That was nice.
Yeah. They, the work with, Photoshop is always the same, so, there isn't like you have to make something, really, really weird, like when you're 3D modeling. That's, you have three dimensions there, so it's, different deal. But with Photoshop, it's just, lines in the end, so that's not so hard. Just takes, time.
But the result was very nice, I think.
Well, I think it,
For the project.
Yeah. Let's go back for the character art for a moment. There is one character in the game which actually has two, characters. The bartender has the weird worm-like creature in his beard. Was that, fun thing to do, and how was it done in technical aspects? Because you talked in the last episode that every character had like, million different parts in them.
Well, that was one of the characters that only had the one part, the worm guy. Because it didn't really have eyebrows or hands, arms, right. So you just needed the one. And so it was very easy to... You don't have to change his expression in the scripts, and that was a really nice change of pace. And basically that character just stands behind the bartender character, and they just have to stay in the proper positions.
Not to be shown.
Yeah. So it stays in the beard and doesn't pop out like it did in one of the later beta versions.
I did?
Yeah, it was one of the last things I fixed.
Oh, nice. Cool. I think that wraps it up for the graphical portion of this podcast.
Okay.
So we are going to talk about the soundtrack of the game, which was made by Sain Cadenza, which is me and my friend Joni, and we have been making instrumental music for some time now, and Aki asked us in the spring of this year to compose the soundtrack for the game, and of course we said yes, because we like to do side projects, not just our own stuff.
Yeah, and we had one meeting. Was it just one meeting?
Yeah, there was one, big meeting, which was like the where we decided the way, or the way we should approach the music. And after that, I think we had a lot of talking via emails and Messenger about the stuff. Would you like to tell us about what happened in the first meeting and how we got the the approach for the soundtrack?
Well, first thing was to somehow explain to these guys what the game was about. Must have been a really fun experience to listen to all the weird stuff, and I tried to keep them away from the design documents until then, so I could use them in the play testing.
That's right, yeah.
So once they had an idea of what the game was about, I tried to make sure it was the correct idea. And then we just, started talking about what kind of music it should be, and what rooms should have their own songs.
I remember we had some ideas. Me and Joni had some, we talked about it before the meeting, and I actually had a bunch of pictures as some sort of inspirational source, and we went through these pictures and ideas, and we actually just threw away the bad ones and had some sort of guidebook or style book for the musical approach.
Which was a bit hard, since everyone thinks different things when they see those pictures.
Yeah, of course, but it's always good to have some sort of one thing to refer when you're working in creative projects.
Yeah.
So in the meeting we also decided to have different themes for different characters. Would you like to tell us about how the kind of ideas for different themes came together? Well,
for the major themes, I had a discussion with the co-designer Joni about them first before the meeting, and he sort of came up with some ideas about them, and then I just presented them to these musicians and we discussed it, and they had their own ideas and I discarded them, and
Yeah, one of the themes that Aki and the co-designer Joni had was that the main guy, the old guy, had this kind of what was it, slowish kind of broken, or what were the words you used to describe his theme?
I don't know in English. I don't remember the Finnish ones either, but no, something calm.
Yeah.
He's an old guy. It's not very fast or anything like
Yeah.
that.
So we kind of went with that, and since we kind of knew that the it's the main character in the game, so it would be kind of the main theme of the game too. So we wanted to include the Indian Ocean and the world that he was in there. So we had all these Indian or ethnic instruments used in the song, which kind of had a really good when you have ethnic instruments, it always points to some place in Earth, and that's of course why we used it.
Yes, it's much more interesting than just the ordinary instrument.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be a sort of an alien environment. So.
Yeah, I don't know if it is alien for some people, but
Yeah. So why don't you tell a bit about how you approach the actual work for the music? What did you do, each of you?
So me and Joni, the way we work is that I do most of the sound design. In music, there's always sound design where you have to decide what instrument sounds like and stuff like that. And I also do all the sound engineer work and mixing and programming. And Joni, then he's the kind of the talented one in he plays the instruments. He's really good at playing guitar and bass and drums, so it's no problem to make basically any kind of music we want. But we threw around ideas for each song and made these demo versions first, and then sent them to Aki and the co-designer Joni, and they gave some feedback, and we most of the time didn't listen to any of the feedback. We just go for it, and that's the workflow of each song, I think.
Yeah, and gradually we didn't try to give any more feedback since it was good enough.
Yeah.
Can you tell a bit about the tools you use to make music?
Sure. Hardware-wise, we use Line 6 pod as the sound interface or audio interface, because we can plug microphones, bass guitar, electric guitar, anything we want into it. So it's a really versatile tool for this kind of home studio work we do. And software-wise, we use Cubase and just bunch of free or commercial VST plugins. And if we don't have some instrument or some VST doesn't have it, maybe try to emulate some way and play some synth sound or guitar sound and just throw a bunch of effects into it so it sounds like something else. So it's any kind of sound work is always, if you don't have the sound, just cheat and make people think, oh, that's that instrument, and they believe it. Because sound doesn't, it's you hear it, not see it, so it's easy to cheat.
Yeah. Did you have any musical influences?
Well, I listened a lot of Elvis and no. I don't know, musical influences. We some of the rooms where there were specific requests from Aki and the co-designer Joni, I actually sent some music tracks. We actually use Spotify for that because it's easier to share playlists there. So I sent a playlist of songs to Aki, and he went through them and said this sounds like the song I would like to hear in the game, and then we just kind of took all the ideas from the song and made it happen in the our own soundtrack and called it our own.
Well, that's an interesting way to work.
Yeah. Well, I'm kidding, of course, but we took some influences from bunch of songs.
Yeah. So, what about the mixing stages?
Well, since this game took place in in Ocean, that was one of the first things I thought in the mixing work. So the music would kind of flow all around you. It's kind of weird to say, but I used a lot of panning in different instruments. there aren't. I think there's like drums are or percussions are the only instrument that doesn't go from left to right, from the speakers left to right all the time. They all had a little bit of motion all the time in them, and that kind of makes this cool. It brings it alive like the ocean will be alive. I think would be a good way to put it. But
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Philosophical almost. But other than that, it's just basic mixing stuff. You pull out the frequencies that sound bad and enhance the ones that sound good, and use the stereo image as much as you can, and try to just make it sound good with the tools you have.
Yeah, and no budget.
Yeah. That's the main thing. And we actually, even though I said we used ethnic sounds, we did use a lot of basic rock or pop instruments. We had bass guitar and electric guitar in many songs, and of course just basic drums.
One of the songs in the game is actually for the karaoke puzzle. I don't know why I pronounce it like that all the time. But
You're funny.
yeah, you actually didn't compose that, which is
No.
weird enough. But actually, I did.
Yeah, you did.
So that's why it sounds weird if it does. But
I think it's a nice piece of music. I think you did a great job.
Yeah, it's a sort of a short jingle.
Yeah.
You can use it in a commercial if you want.
Yeah.
Something catchy and not too depressing.
Yeah, the workflow of that song is actually when you did the composing. You just sent us a MIDI file, which had the piano parts in it, and we just recorded the rest of the instruments on top of that, and mixed it.
And fixed my playing.
Yeah.
Sucks at times.
Yeah, we used a little bit of quantize here and there.
Yeah.
But it wasn't any different from the other songs, because well of course it was different. It wasn't our song, but it was really easy to make because we had the piano part. We could just build from there, so it's easy and nice to do.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
Fun experiment.
Yeah. And of course we did the where you have to choose the option for the karaoke. The what is called some sort of bridge part or something. That's something we just made from the top of our head, but that's about it.
Some short loop that plays while you choose your
option
stuffs.
Yeah. So does that wrap it up for the soundtrack part of this podcast?
I think that's pretty much all.
Would you like to tell us about the future of STEMSOC Interactive? What is coming up?
Who knows? We are hopefully about to start another project. We don't know what it is yet, but hopefully we'll try going commercial.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
And bankrupt.
Yeah, well, that goes without saying, of course. Anyways, thank you for listening to the Barely Floating podcast, the behind-the-scenes making of, whatever you want to call it.
Yes, thank you.
If you have any questions, just, drop us an email at stemshock@gmail.com, or, we are in Facebook, we are in Twitter, so, you can find us there.
Yes, and buy Summerbatch.
Yeah, please do.
Summerbatch.co.uk.
I was just going to ask you if you have any closing words, but that sounded so nice, so... Anyways,
I have one.
Oh.
Where's the van?
Anybody who gets that inside joke, please email us stemshock@gmail.com and I will send you a t-shirt. Anyways, I'll see you guys later, and hopefully we'll do more podcasts, and I will keep talking really, really broken English and, whatever.
Hopefully it'll get a bit cooler.
Yeah, I hope so, yeah. Anyway, see you guys later.
See ya.
Hey, quick reminder, remember to buy the Summer Batch at summerbatch.co.uk. Do it now, please, so we can get some money eventually.